Young people are probably more tuned out than most of us realize. In 1972, half of all college-aged Americans read a newspaper every day. Today, it's a fifth. But not only is it college-aged, but 20-somethings and 30-somethings too. And why do we care about a 30-something non-reader? It turns out that Wolfram Preiser, a researcher about newspaper readership, has found that your news habits are codified in your early 20s, more often than not. So if you're a 30-year-old non-reader, you're going to be a 40-year-old non-reader in 10 years. There is a point at which that if you don't pick up the news habit, it's too late. And that's a pretty frightening statistic. Yesterday, the Pew Research Center came out with a poll that said that if their local paper would fold, 23% of people under 40 would miss it a lot. 23% would miss their local paper a lot if it folded. What's the median viewer age of television news, CNN, and the networks? Well, 10 years ago, it was 50. Today, it's 60. And if you find that statistic hard to believe, watch the evening news, but watch not the news, but the commercials, right? And it looks like you're opening up a medicine cabinet for an elderly couple. Viagra, Metamucil, Fixodent, Depends. The Daily Show's median viewer age is 34. And what about the internet? About half of young people are claiming to get news off the internet, and that's a hopeful sign. Still, we know that Facebook and email and entertainment trump news online for all age for young people. Interestingly, older Americans are following news as closely, if not more closely, than younger Americans online. But more than looking at specific media, I think that polls tell us a lot, news knowledge polls. In 2004, Americans were asked by Pew, do you happen to know the political candidate who was a general? 42% of people over 50 knew it was Wesley Clark. 13% of the under 30 crowd knew that Wesley Clark was a general. Weren't young people always more tuned out than the elders? Well, chances are, if we believe the Pew Research polls and the Time Mirror Center polls before it, the chances are that young people in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s were nearly as tuned in as their elders, and the gap started to widen in the 1970s. Why does this matter? And this is central to the charge of this conference. When young people and people of all ages vote, they don't follow the news closely, they vote against their economic interests. They make decisions based on patriotism or hunches rather than contrasting words and deeds. How many people in the room are against, are in favor of leaving children behind? Just one person in the back is. How many are against clear skies? Just a few people. And how about, are you against American recovery and reinvestment? We're in favor of all those things. We don't want to leave children behind, but do we support No Child Left Behind? Do we support the Clear Skies Initiative, both Bush administration initiatives? Do we support Obama's American Recovery and Reinvestment Act? Well, we have to make decisions based on facts, not on hunches. We're giving Obama and his people $787 billion, so we better be holding them accountable.